how
home game this week.
this is how the Joneses do it. I was told. So yeah. I'm piggybacking. Don't get carried away here.
Told Clarence ahead of time he couldn't handle it.
Well, he's still getting dressed. It was his idea. It was Clarence's idea. So yeah.
David?
Mike, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. First, what's going on?
What do you mean? Well, I just did the TV show. I had to clean up from your mess. I heard about your part. So.
Mike, you talk a lot about players taking a jump in their second year. Yeah. Still very early this season, but who are some of those second year guys who have all off season and now early in this season kind of jumped up?
I mean, just go down through the class. I mean, you start with Micah. He obviously had a heck of a year last year, and he's taken a tremendous jump. I think Calvin was won a game ball in as far as the special teams. This past week, Osa. I mean, you just go all the way through those guys. Chauncey. I mean, I'm very happy with our whole draft class from last year.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. You mentioned Calvin. How has he grown from the issues he had over the summer to where we are right now?
I tell you what, the most important thing for any young player, and I know, and particularly for what he was going through, is he is established a consistency, more of a rhythm to to his work ethic and so forth. Obviously, extremely talented, but he's the thing I always look for, especially in young players, is be the same person every day. Because I think when you have guys that you can, you know what you're getting. I know this is the way I operate and how you want to utilize. But when you're dealing with this all the time, it's a little more difficult to have the growth that you could potentially have. So I just think he's been very, very consistent this year compared to his rookie season.
Mike Todd Archer with ESPN. We talked about Dak and his thumb and throwing, but what's the impact of a snap that he has to take when it on the thumb?
No, excellent point. I mean, that's going to be part of it. I mean, I think that's just like anything. I know we talked about where he was getting the stitches out, and the next step is the swelling. So because that'll directly be affected. Particularly when he's under center.
Do you anticipate? Could he do some more throwing or any throwing today?
I don't think. No, I don't see that in his rehab plan. You guys don't say anything to Clarence when he comes in late?
Well, we usually give a slow clap.
Slow clap.
Interrupt.
Oh, that's kind of.
You look so nice today.
Huh?
You look so nice.
We've had
You missed it. Yeah,
Sorry, too late.
late to.
Victoria.
I was not up on the
Victoria
phone.
Epstein, Yahoo Sports. Dak had said earlier that later this week he hoped to get more of that purposeful throwing. Early next week. What's the latest?
I couldn't tell you. I talked to him this morning. He's still working on the swelling, and until we get past that phase, I really can't get into exactly when he's going to throw.
Mike, with Curse and Schultz, what they were able to do yesterday, and just kind of the prognosis going forward.
Yesterday was a big day. Obviously, it was the closest we could get, practice-wise. But J. Ron was, he felt good coming in today. So he'll progress. To be honest with you, just because of the way today's designed, and Dalton was good too. But they'll take a full reps tomorrow. That'll be their final threshold. But so far it looks pretty good.
Coach Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. Michael Gallup, full practice again. Is he still looking good for potentially?
Yeah, Michael's on a good path. He's on a good path, and once again, I thought he did everything yesterday. Had a good practice, and that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Let's make you wish, right?
Right.
Yeah. But he's had a full, another full week as he could. So I look for Michael to do everything tomorrow, and hopefully he'll be active on Sunday.
Dave Loffenberg, Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Fourth regular season game, fourth different day time. Do you go through with the rookies that have not experienced this, coming off short week, all that? Do you go through that a little bit on how their schedule should look and the things that they're going to encounter? Again, going from.
Oh no, absolutely. I start every team meeting at 7:30. Clearly, for the whole week. I review the week's work, and then go through the day, because so much of what we do, as far as you look at the way the 3.5 hours of the game it's being played, we talk about ebb and flow and the game. I always looked at your work week as the same, because, it's going to change. The game is never the same. There's moments that are similar. There's reactions that you're going to have that are similar that you can tie into your past experience. So I've always viewed as the preparation as the same type of approach. So the ebb and flow of your preparation going into the game is critical. And just to your point, we've had 4 different starts to 4 different games. So that's why I've always taken that approach.
Mike Micah told us yesterday that some of his teammates were making fun of him for not getting a sack in the game this past week. And he's like, I like that. That's the expectation. What goes through your mind when you hear that? And did you experience your
Well, I just think it's all part of the competitive spirit in that locker room. It's constant. I love it. It's clearly a lot higher this year than it was last year. I mean, these guys are competing at everything all the time. So I think it's a big part of our culture. And obviously we got so many very high competitive individuals, and definitely Mike is one of them.
And one more, did you have a general of the week today? Who was it? What was their message?
General of the week it was Jeff Blasco. So it was a very diverse message, and I don't think we can get into it in mixed company. So I'm just kidding. But no, he was excellent. He was excellent. But he touched on a bunch of different topics. So.
Kyle Gillens, DallasCowboys.com. How has Jason Peters kind of progressed with another week of work?
Yeah, yesterday was really our first chance to get out and continue to grow, as far as, full speed work. And so, I mean, he's getting better. It's getting, he just needs to keep working. So he felt good coming out of the game Monday night, and, talked to him briefly at the end of practice yesterday. So we're making progress.
Todd.
Mike, with what happened with Tua last night, what your reaction to that, and are there any adjustments that need to be made to the return to play protocol?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, is the protocol. I mean, the protocol is sound. There's a process. Now the facts of, where he was in the protocol, not in the protocol, I'm not privy to all the facts behind that, but, I do know that the process works. You never want to see any player get hurt. I mean, we had the injury right there at the end of the game. I mean, that's trust me, it doesn't matter what sideline you're on. No one wants to see a player, in a serious situation. So, but I think clearly, if you look at it over time, the processes that have been put into place are obviously all for the right reasons. But it's just like anything. We got to be better at it. So, because if it didn't work, I think the answer why is more specific to the people and particularly on the game Sunday or Thursday and so forth. So, but just for instance in our game, Trayvon was pulled off the field, for evaluation because they saw the collision there on the when he went down. I think it was in the third quarter. So the process and the protocols are in place. We just got to continue to work to utilize it and keep these guys as safe as possible.
If a medical staff clears a guy as a coach, would you still say, I still don't want to put the guy out there?
Well, you got to give me all the facts. I mean, if I'm not going to stand here and be judgmental on anybody because I think it's like anything. If you're in it, it's. You have access to all the facts, or you should, and then from that, I can honestly say I know just of all the conversations that I've been a part of. There's no one who wants to see someone play that shouldn't play, but there's a number of people involved in that decision.
In your time in coaching, is that how coaching staffs and medical staffs and players react to concussions now? Has that been one of the biggest changes? Because again, before it was just you got your bell rung, you don't see you don't see your finger bent one way, so just get back out there.
Well, I just think like anything, it's all through education and experience. There's the indicators are, are public knowledge now. So I think we're all been exposed to more education, more specifics, more training, more eyes on the process. The medical. Just look at the staffing of the medical, assistants involved in trying to get it right. So I think it's definitely much better than it was 10, 15 years ago.
Could the protocols be wrong though? I mean, do you know, or you just listen to other players talk and how they lie about the baseline because they want to get back on the field. You trust you know you listen to a guy, he answers questions, but sometimes could maybe the protocol is how we apply the protocol.
I'll say this: it's really, in my experience, it's really in depth. And there's a lot of I mean, you look at the process over the years. I mean, as far as the league, the medical, the union. I mean, there's a lot of criteria that goes into building this protocol. So, I think just like anything in this league, we all just got to continue to work together because we definitely don't want to be dealing with situations like we are today. Talking about something that could potentially have been prevented.
One more question. Have you seen enough from Peter to determine how much more he can play this week?
Just continuing the conversation. Yeah, definitely. Just feedback from him, and then obviously the rotation, and because the biggest thing is the connection and communication. Just getting, playing next to the same guy. This isn't a matter of if he can play. We all know he can play. I mean, it's not. It's just getting in tune and getting the physical part right. Because he didn't go through training camp and so forth. So we're looking at all those things to determine a play count.
Skyler Dixon with BAP. Back on the medical thing briefly. Have you ever had a situation as a head coach where you made the call yourself, like the eye test told you, this guy's not going back, or do you remember that?
No, I don't think it ever came to that. I think it was, and I've been there where the player wanted to go and the medical staff didn't want to go, and obviously the medical staff trumped the players wanting to go. I've been part of those decisions. I think it's only natural. These guys want to play, and if they think they can play, they're gonna try to play. So I just since 2006, there's a lot more that goes into the evaluation process today than it did 15, 20 years ago. So I do know that part's better, and I think our game is much safer because of it.
Coach Rebecca Lopez with WFAA. Cowboy Nation suffered a loss yesterday with the death of Gavin Escobar. What's been the reaction from the organization today?
Well, I mean, just all the individuals, obviously very sad, tragic, but all the individuals that work with Gavin, I mean, he's heavy on everybody's heart today. I personally did not know him, but just sitting down there talking with Britt and Jim and, the guys that knew him well, talking about his experience and the type of guy he was. And, and frankly, just, the fact that he was a fireman, it definitely touches my heart also. So, the young children left behind, and so obviously it was very sad to see that tragedy.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.